90% of the time, the people who moan and cry about this stuff, they haven't cared about women's sports ever. I mean, I don't care about women's sports. I don't care about sports. I don't care what gender you are when you go into it. My uncaring will be equal. Florida. When I say Florida, what comes to mind to you? Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad you answered cringe before you had a chance to type it out in the comment section, because that's what we got. But first, the fan art. We have a fan art here from Forrest, no context given, but it is almost a mouse-like version of Neko Suris. Kind of cute. I think the hands almost give that away. The next one we have here is from Dreb Mebin. To be honest, this one got away from me. Based it off of a derpy way my cat sits sometimes. Ignore Sonic with teeth. He was going to be a placeholder, but I couldn't bring myself to get rid of him. Oh my god. The worst Sonic. 10 out of 10. The worst Sonic. But yeah, no, like, this is how Yumi sits sometimes. It's adorable. The last one we have here is from Aether Cat. Been a while since I said I was going to do this, but here is Super Saiyan Neko Suris. I'm here to punch. I'm here to punch people. And this is to go even further beyond. As always, everyone, thank you all for the fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord section. With that said, let's go ahead and move on. You misspelled the best Sonic, Smacko. I misspelled smackoing you for that comment.
Questioning Judge Jackson, saying, do you agree with Justice Ginsburg that there are physical differences between men and women? Judge Jackson answering, saying, Senator, respectfully, I am not familiar with that quote or case. Can you provide a definition of the word woman? That's from Senator Blackburn. Jackson saying, I can't. Blackburn saying to Jackson, the fact that you can't answer such a fundamental question underscores the dangers of progressive education that we're talking about. Which brings us into our next...
So, hold up. We already got some bullshit. Before we get into the actual, like, meat of that video, woman is a descriptive term, as all terms are, and it describes a state where somebody has aligned themselves either with a certain amount of performative measures or aesthetic measures or mental measures that make them feel like they're on one side of a, that's not so much a binary, but a bimodal distribution of what we know as gendered characteristics. It's a descriptive definition, so asking somebody to provide a definition for it is nothing wrong with that. Just like asking somebody to provide a definition for any word. There's nothing really wrong with that. And if it's hard for you to define it because our understanding of gender is much broader now than it was 20 years ago, that's not a bad thing. But, you know, we'll just be like true conservatives. We'll pretend there's things to be mad about.
Story coming out of Florida, because we're getting in new details that Governor DeSantis has issued a proclamation declaring a Sarasota swimmer the real winner over a transgender athlete who won a 500-meter freestyle event last week. I want to bring in Fox 13's Aaron Messmer, who's been tracking this story the whole time. And Aaron, this is a big development coming out of today, as this is a historic moment for transgender athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you saw there in that line of questioning just how heated a topic this can be. There are plenty of people on one side that say it's about time that transgender athletes are getting a fairness and getting a little bit more fair opportunity in sports, especially at the collegiate level. But there are plenty of people, including Governor Ron DeSantis here in Florida, who think that Sarasota swimmer you mentioned had her shot at the title stolen from her.
So can we get a couple of things out of the way here before we even get into the conversation here? So first of all, for anybody who says that sports need to be fair, sports are never fair. Sports aren't. Biological advantages exist on all sides for sports, period. It is how athletic sports work. You will, by nature of your birth, have certain advantages and disadvantages that you will merely have to cope with in any type of sports arena. That's just reality. Michael Phelps has a build that is unlike many other people's build in his ability to perform incredibly well as a swimmer. If we're not going to isolate all biological advantages, then merely focusing on biological advantages that happen to sometimes coincide with gender is hypocritical and also stupid. Yeah, and nobody said anything when trans people were losing in the Olympics. But as soon as a person wins, oh no, like are they just allowed to be there? But the minute they win, that's a problem. So let's go ahead and see what Ron has to say before we get into some information here.
Wins the NCAA championship.
Leah Thomas's victory in the NCAA 500-meter freestyle championship sparked a national controversy surrounding her and the swimmer who came in second, Sarasota's Emma Wyant.
She's been an absolute superstar her whole career.
And Governor DeSantis made headlines Tuesday with this announcement.
We're going to be doing a proclamation saying that Emma is the best female swimmer in the 500-meter freestyle.
Leah is from the University of Pennsylvania and is a trans...
So the best swimmer? Sarah? Really interesting. Correct me if I'm wrong. So Leah's an athlete, and she did participate in the men's division, was able to get 11th in the 1,000-meter swim, but then HRT, as it does, devastated her performance, and she lost over 15 seconds in her actual records, because that is what HRT does. It is your body responds to those hormones, and it does affect your performance. This is the reason why the Olympics prefers you to have a year or two on, or requires you to have a year or two on hormones before you can compete in a gender division outside of the gender you were assigned at birth, because we know what HRT does to the body. Also, the best... I'm pretty sure that Leah still remains, 9 seconds behind Katie Ledecky. And there's a ton of records that if she still has them by the end of the month, they're held by tiny fractions, things that other people will be able to beat as well. Other cis women will be able to beat with time. Again, this is just how competitions work. She also placed 8th in another race the same day against a cis woman that she won the one race. Yeah, it is almost as if in these competitions, they get mad when trans people win. But, when they've been competing for ages, it was never a problem. It was never a fucking problem. Her margins of victory are not that abnormal. Leah won the 200 free by 1.75 seconds, but Felicia Poseidon managed to win that exact one back by 3.81 seconds. Leah Thomas's margins for victory in the Olympics are not so astounding so as to be an issue outside of the ability for conservatives to piss, moan, whine, and bitch about them. The margins are not so steep that they could not be taken out by a cis woman at any point in time. And yet, conservatives will, again, piss, moan, whine, bitch, cry about it. And oddly enough, 90% of the time, the people who moan and cry about this stuff, they haven't cared about women's sports ever. I mean, I don't care about women's sports. I don't care about sports. I don't care what gender you are when you go into it. My uncaring will be equal. But I want people to have the ability to participate because they likely care. So you get conservatives who get really, really angry that trans people are able to participate in sports at all, much less in the gender that they happen to be, especially after years of HRT and in many cases surgeries. But oh, don't worry. It's bad. It's certainly very, very bad just because they're trans. Do you remember when Michael Phelps faced controversy for smoking marijuana and they called it a performance enhancing drug for his swimming? Do you guys remember that? That was equally fucking stupid. You guys don't remember conservatives getting up in arms about that shit? Really? Let me see if I can pull that up for you. Hold on. Yeah, back in 2009, Phelps got disciplined over a marijuana pipe incident or some shit. As if, that mattered. But let's continue.
Transgender female athlete, the first to win the title. But the governor is among those who feel that she hasn't.
Do you know how many trans women have competed in the Olympics for years? Do you know how many? Because it's been an allowed thing for a while. like a decently long while. And the minute one person wins, that is the minute that anger and rage are presented.
An unfair advantage, and that Emma, who goes to the University of Virginia, should have won.
She had the fastest time of any woman in college athletics.
I am pissed that our Olympian who got the silver medal in swimming was passed up for the national championship.
Sarasota County Commissioner Christian Ziegler has followed Emma's career.
So I don't have the original clip there, but I feel as though they cut him off right before he said something like, got passed up by a man or some shit. I'm fairly certain they cut him off right at that point. When's the last time DeSantis watched or cared about women's sports? Probably the last time he masturbated. Let's be honest.
Emma Wyant.
She's a local star who took home a silver medal for Team USA at the Tokyo Olympics in 2020.
This is insane. This is a step too far, and we don't need to be taking away the ability for women to compete and win.
In fact, the NCAA...
Nobody took away her ability to compete and win. Again, Leah Thomas's records are going to be broken by cis women in the next few years anyway. You're just mad that she got a silver medal. You're mad that a cis woman lost. But guess what? She still got a silver medal. That is still commendable. Instead of focusing on the accomplishment there, you are treating it as if it's a failure. As if sports even fucking mattered.
NCAA changed its rules for transgender athlete participation in January and now follows U.S. Olympic Committee guidelines. Transgender athletes must now meet sport-specific testosterone levels in the weeks leading up to their championship.
And that is the reason why it's not a fucking issue. It's actually not a problem. So, for those who don't know, it's not just that you need to be on hormone therapy for a certain amount of time. It is also the fact that even cis women have to meet certain levels of testosterone. If they do not, if they exceed certain levels of testosterone that are decided by their rules committee to be particularly performance enhancing, then even cis women have to start taking hormone therapy to lower the amount of testosterone their body is utilizing. That's a thing. Almost as if the Olympics Committee has already recognized most of the information where this is concerned, and people are just complaining about it now without having any of that information. Also, a fun thing as well. Have you guys ever seen on Twitter the conservative politicians and pundits who get caught after making like a lot of really, really bigoted anti-trans statements, who get caught with search histories of trans porn? These people will actively fap to trans women, will actively fantasize about sleeping with them, but when it comes to actually, you know, giving them rights, when it comes to that, that's a step too far. Bisexual, but it was a long word. Fair.
And it's also worth saying out loud that Governor DeSantis is not an expert on these issues at all.
No, he's
Brandon
not.
Wolf, an LGBTQ advocate with Equality Florida, says this is a sensitive topic and good faith conversations are important. But he believes the governor's actions are counterproductive.
Well, yeah, it's literally just virtue signaling. We need to call it what it is. We need to actually call this what it is. Look, anti-SJWs on the internet, for the longest time, have had the term virtue signaler as a thing they've used against activists for years. Ben Shapiro, Mark Dice, fucking Matt Walsh, they've used that term against people like me for years, though none of those individuals know me. People like me, is what I'm saying. That term's been used for ages against us, so why don't we just take that back? When this shit is happening, when Ron DeSantis is pouting on a stage in front of a bunch of people and saying how they're going to declare the real winner in Florida, where the Olympics weren't held, for an Olympian who wasn't from Florida and has nothing to do with Florida. When that happens, just call it what it is. It's virtue signaling. In your honest opinion, who's the most vile Republican governor? I have no idea. I don't know the thoughts in their head. Won't my trans women know we're really women? Conservative men keep on trying to take our rights. Yeah, you got the whole package. Got the whole package, including the misogyny. Funny how I hear nothing about how bad trans men in sports are. Actually, a fun fact. another bit of information. Maybe this headline would be interesting for you. But Leah Thomas got crushed in the 100-meter breaststroke and finishes 5th after being beaten by another transgender swimmer who was transitioning from female to male. But you know, let's just not do that thing. Let's just not do that thing where we look at reality. Let's actually just, you know, bitch and moan about things we don't understand, Ron. Dude who only has his job because he had Trump's mushroom in his mouth probably 1 or 3 times.
Unfortunately, while he's not interested in having a good faith conversation about athletic participation for transgender folks, you know, he's dragging us all into sort of this right-wing culture war in the process.
Yeah, this is not the first time that Governor DeSantis has weighed in on an issue just like this. In fact, last year, Governor DeSantis signed a bill into law that bans transgender female athletes from participating in public school sports. Now, we did reach out to Emma Wine's family. However, they declined to comment on this story. Back to you.
Aaron, interesting enough, 2 Republican governors in the last 2 days have vetoed legislation that would have prohibited transgender girls from participating in women's sports. Quite opposite of what Governor DeSantis is doing. How is the community reacting about Governor DeSantis' decision?
Yeah, I think it really is this kind of issue where you can find heated comments and very passionate people on both sides.
Okay, so we've basically got through the information segments that we care about. We've got. If you look at the comment section for the video, though, like, is there even a valid discussion to talk about? He's a man. 100%. How could that be fair to women? Tell me you don't know what a man is without telling me you don't know what a man is. Tell me you don't know what a woman is without telling me you don't know what a woman is. I mean, we can get into the mechanics of what a hormone wash does in the body. I mean, we can do that. If you really want. Both sides are bad. You almost got to that. I'm looking forward to when guys start taking real money in women's professional tennis or golf. It'll be fun to watch all the top tennis players saying that they fully support guys taking all their money. Again, trans women are women. But to these people, it will never be that case. It will never be. To these people, trans women will always be just feminine dudes. Emma won. She deserves the recognition. That one dude is forgettable. That one dude. You mean Leah Thomas? The only reason you even know Emma's name is because she was Let's go ahead and point the reality. The only reason any of these people even know Emma's name is because she was beaten by a trans woman. The only reason you know this person's name at all is because a trans person beat them. In the reality in which Emma won, nobody would be saying her name for the most part, except the most diehard fans of the Olympics. And that's not a good thing, mind you. That's not like, oh, this is the ideal set of reality. It's not a good thing. But the fact that none of this conversation would be happening if a cis woman had just won as per usual. Just a very, very strange conversation. I bet if you put up 10 pictures of cis women swimmers and asked them to find the man, they definitely would pick out others. Yep. Oh, believe me, I had a fun time. Just like, fuck this person, mind you, fuck Buck Angel, but I had a person who was commenting on someone I know who is taking testosterone, and I just showed them a picture of Buck Angel and went, "This is what will likely happen," and it was one of those just like speechless moments. Like, it is amazing how effective hormone therapy can be when you have the proper dosages, including its effectiveness at stripping away certain physical benefits that you get from testosterone. Hell, Google Ledecky and look at her pics. I've seen people saying that she's Leah. Jesus. It's okay. The reality that we need to live in, though, is that all of these people will be ratioed by Keffels on Twitter. That's just how things are. That's the reality of the world. All people get ratioed by Keffels. That's how it works. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. This conversation is I'm agitated that this conversation started so vehemently in the atheist community and then it's now just everywhere. It feels like a virus that I will never be able to truly escape no matter where I go on the internet. And I hate it. Can we get conservatives fetishize food as a trending thing? I mean, it's true, but we'll do that. Or just do Republicans fetishize food as. Here we go. That's the one. Alrighty. As always, everybody, if you want to support my channel and what I do, there's ways to do it in the description below. There's a Patreon, there's affiliate links, all kinds of stuff. If you enjoy my content, hit the like button if you haven't already. Follow, subscribe, all that other fun stuff. And insert end of video tagline here.